so much, and good morning to everyone. And thank you, Carl and Rolanda, for inviting me to share on this program. You know, whenever family calls, I answer and I accept. And I think Rolanda has figured that out more than the rest of the family. Let me ask you a question. When you hear the words Black history, what comes to mind? Maybe Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, or Booker T. Washington. Heroes, right? Legends who seem larger than life. But what if I told you they were once just like you? What do you see when you look in the mirror? A student, a friend, someone who loves being with their friends, social media, basketball, anime. What if I told you that staring back at you from that mirror is a future legend? Someone who could change the world. Today I'm here to flip the script on Black history. This isn't just about the past, it's about you. This morning, I'm here to say, if they became Black history, so can you. This isn't just a speech, it's an invitation to see yourself in the stories of giants, to realize that ordinary people, even young people, can ignite extraordinary change. Let's rewind the clock to 1913. A girl named Rosa McCauley is born in Tuskegee, Alabama, which, as you know now, is my hometown. At age 11, she's collecting clean water for her family because their school couldn't afford fountains for Black students. At 19, she's married to Raymond Parks, a barber who loves jazz. By 42, she's a seamstress, not a superhero. But here's the twist. Rosa Parks spent years studying civil rights with the NAACP. She wasn't just tired that day on the bus. She was strategic. Her no sparked a 381-day boycott. And guess what? She was shy. Yet, she used her voice anyway. Rosa's lesson: you don't need to be loud to be brave. You just need to care enough to act. So if Rosa Parks became Black history, so can you. Next, we have a teenager named Michael. Yep, Michael King, whose father later changed his name to Martin Luther King. He loved pranks, chess, and hated piano lessons. At 15, he started college early. At 26, he's a rookie pastor in Montgomery, Alabama, terrified to lead a bus boycott. But he leaned into his superpower, words. His I have a dream speech wasn't magical, it was practice. He rewrote it until 3 a.m. the night before. He doubted himself, cried, but he kept going. Why? Because he believed in a better world for Black people, for all people. He believed in the future you. Your passion might be coding or sports, writing, singing, dancing, or acting. Dr. King's message is simple. Your voice plus your passion equals unstoppable. So if Martin Luther King Jr. became Black history, so can you. Let's talk about Fred Gray. Many of you probably have never heard of Fred Gray. As a teenager, sitting in the back of the bus, he vowed, "I'll become a lawyer to desegregate everything in Alabama." And he did. His passion connected with his voice, and he was unstoppable. At 24, fresh out of law school, he defended Rosa Parks when she was arrested for not giving up her seat to a white person. At 25, he represented Dr. King for starting the bus boycott. He sued the state of Alabama to gain a permit to lead the Selma to Montgomery March. He sued to integrate schools, buses, and businesses in Alabama, and even took on the U.S. government. Guess what? Attorney Fred Gray grew up in Montgomery, Alabama's segregated streets. No fancy connections, just grit. He turned anger into action, one case at a time. You don't need a law degree to fight injustice. Start a club. Call out a racist joke. Change begins where you stand. Change begins where you are. By the way, Attorney Gray eventually moved to Tuskegee, Alabama, and set up a law firm. He was my neighbor in Tuskegee. A few weeks ago, he was in Washington, D.C. to give a talk at the National Portrait Gallery, where his portrait now hangs. And I had an opportunity to talk to him again. He's still fighting injustice in the South. And at age 94, goes to work every day from 8 to 5. He said to me, "Lisa, this is not the time to quit. With what we're seeing in our federal and state governments, the attack on our HBCUs and other programs, we've got to continue to fight." You know what I'm going to say. If Fred Gray became Black history, then so can you. Every time I speak about Black history, I have to mention someone that impacted my hometown of Tuskegee. Let's rewind to 1856. A boy named Booker is born into slavery. No last name, no freedom. After emancipation, he walked 500 miles to attend school while working in coal mines. At age 25, he became Tuskegee Institute's first president with limited funding and relentless hustle. Booker T. Washington wasn't a perfect hero. He faced criticism for his views, and he never stopped pushing for Black education. His goal was to lift the veil of ignorance from Black people. He thought, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. You have more tools than Booker T. Washington or Rosa Parks and even Martin Luther King and Fred Grant ever did. Wi-Fi, cell phones, social media. Imagine what you can do, what you can build. If Booker T. Washington became Black history, you know where I'm going. You might as well say it alone. So can you. Finally, let's talk about me, something I rarely ever do. As it was said, I'm the Deputy Clerk of the U.S. House of Representatives. Guess what? My office on the first floor of the U.S. Capitol is in a building built by slaves. Think about this. The clerk's office was formed in 1789 when Congress was first created. There have been only 3 black deputy clerks in 236 years, and I am one of them. I think about that every day I walk in the U.S. Capitol, a place constructed to exclude black people, now as a black woman supporting members of Congress in shaping laws. Me, a black woman that delivers bills to the President of the United States for signature, who, by the way, also sits in another building, the White House, built by slaves. I'm not famous. I'm a sister, I'm a cousin, I'm a niece, I'm a friend, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I'm just someone working behind the scenes, making a difference and ensuring democracy works for everyone. So the next time you hear a bill was signed by the president, you can say, I know the person that delivered it to the White House. You don't need a title to matter. Tutor a friend, plant a community garden. History isn't just a big moment, it's what you do today. If I became Black history, so can you. People might say, you're just a kid. Your age isn't a limit. Keep that in mind. Your age isn't a limit. It's a superpower. As I wrap up, look around the room. In the room you're in, it's future Rosas and Freds and Bookers and Martins and even Lisas. So what's your move? Find your fight. Rosa had injustice. Fred had the law. What makes your heart race? Start small. Booker walked 500 miles. How far are you willing to go? Be stubborn. They told Dr. King he was too young. He kept preaching. Do your very best. I started by performing my job with excellence. You can go further and become a member of Congress. So the next time someone says Black history, remember, if they became Black history, so can you. Go be great, and thank you.
Can you hear us?
I can.
We appreciate you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we now have our marching orders. And all I would say is your mom and dad would be proud.
And your father too.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you all later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She'll be glad to come. All right, so we have a few more, and we